For the longest time, I've been looking for a roguelike FPS. The problem is, all of them suck. Okay, that's a bit of an over-exaggeration, but none of them really appealed to me. Until now, because I just found a really good one. A game called Deadlink. I believe there are a few things that set Deadlink apart from the others. The perfectly paced gunplay and movement, meaningful upgrades that change the game and aren't just flat percentage boosts, and the armor bar. That last one may be confusing at first, but it will come into play. But before I talk about why I like Deadlink so much, I should probably go over some of the game's competition and why I like them less. So how about we look at one of the most popular FPS roguelikes, RoboQuest. On the game's surface, it's fine, but something about it was always off to me. The movement didn't feel like I shot up 3 doses of heroin, and something about the game's guns also felt weird to me. It was less of, I'm gonna make your head explode, and more like a Nerf gun. Not to mention that a lot of the game's upgrades are just flat percentage boosts, and as stated before, I don't really like those. That combined with the large amount of guns and the weird focus on exploration kinda threw me off, because I read all of the reviews saying that this was essentially Doom but a roguelike, and I expected that. I expected an arena shooter with a set amount of guns, but a roguelike. Instead, I got more of a Borderlands experience, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just wasn't what I was looking for. I was sad. I was heartbroken. I was depressed. I was about to kill myself. I never thought I'd find that Doom Eternal style roguelike. And then Deadlink showed up at my front door. I love this game. The main premise is you're a soldier who controls a robot who has to go take out a bunch of mega corporations, but you do it in a very illegal feeling way. Instead of serving them a piping hot lawsuit, you instead send them a piece of lead delivered right to their head. You fucking kill them, which is exactly what I've been looking for. And of course, this game's a roguelite, so it has all of its standard roguelite-ish things, like rooms, upgrades, currency for permanent upgrades, yada yada yada. You already know what to expect. I'm willing to bet the majority of my fan base are roguelike fans, just based on the fact on how popular my first video got on them. And the algorithm's pretty good at its job, so the majority of the new audience is also going to be roguelike fans. The roguelike elements I'm not really going to touch on, because I've already done enough with roguelikes. If you want to see everything about those, you can just go over to my video over here. The main thing that hooked me was the gameplay, the buttery smooth gameplay, and the grappling hook. Do you like grappling hooks? Because I like grappling hooks. In fact, I love grappling hooks. In fact, add that to the list of things that make this game fucking good. Because if your game has a grappling hook and fast-paced movement, then sign me the fuck up, because I'm at least spending 20 hours in that bitch. This game has 4 pickable characters, or as the game calls them, shells. You have the soldier and the other ones. They don't really matter because none of them have the grappling hook, which ensures the fact that I won't use them for more than 2 runs, but because I'm such a nice guy, we'll run through them real fast. Soldier has a shotgun, rocket launcher, a grappling hook, and a shockwave that gives all the enemies in its radius Down syndrome. He's also my favorite for, reasons we went over earlier. The next one is the hunter, and he's a tad bit of a pussy. He prefers to run and hide instead of actually taking the fight head on. He has a revolver, an arc cannon, which looks like this. He can swap places with enemies, and he can go invisible. You can kinda see why I call him a bit of a pussy now. Coming in from the top turnbuckle, we have the engineer. He has an automatic rifle, a grenade launcher. He can also suck people off. Never mind that one. And, of course, since he's a fucking engineer, he has to have a turret, because apparently every single fucking engineer in video games have to have turrets. Last but not least, we have the Juggernaut. He's a chunky boy with a double-barreled shotgun and a grenade launcher. He can also charge at enemies, throwing all of his body mass into them, and he has a 360 shockwave. Now that I've gone through all the characters, I can get back to my schizophrenic rant on why I think this game is good and deserves to be recognized more. I mean, look at these numbers. Only 2,800 reviews. This deserves at least 5K. Well, now I'm sad, but never mind that, because did you know that only 0.8% of you guys are actually subscribed? Yeah, if you haven't noticed, that's kinda shit. So how about you do your part and help and, get that number up by subscribing? Please, like, actually, I'll fucking pay you. This game's combat loop is so addicting that you might mistake it for a nice brick of cocaine. The guns are powerful, the gore is immaculate, and it's a roguelike, which, you guys know how much I like those. It's almost like I made an entire video on it. But out of all of these things, I think there's one mechanic in this game that makes it 10 times better. Boom! The armor bar. No, I'm serious. Just like, listen. Just listen. Hear me out. Obviously, armor protects your main health bar, right? You may be thinking, well, no shit, why are you hyping it up so much? Because I think it's one of the best mechanics that they could have added. Because your health can't recharge, but your armor can. You see, in most roguelikes, you have to avoid getting hit at all costs, which you can't really do with an arena shooter like Deadlink. Games like Risk of Rain just had a regenerating health bar, but in that game you're forced to stay in a specific area, or else the game starts getting more difficult and becomes impossible. And some of you might have noticed that Deadlink doesn't have this feature. Instead, they added a main health bar that can't be recharged, and a secondary health bar that can be recharged. You can recharge this health bar by killing enemies, but it's not that simple. In order to get armor drops from these guys, you first have to tag them. You can do this by using any of your abilities on them. After that, you just simply make their heads disappear, and all of that armor is yours. This game mechanic's so great because it forces you into an aggressive playstyle and makes you use your ability in the most efficient way possible. I could use my scrambler on this one enemy, or I could gather a bunch in a group, then scramble them, and then use my rocket launcher on them for the most amount of armor possible. It also gives good stakes that we're used to in roguelikes. The stakes of being near death in any of these games is just unmatched, because you know when that number hits 0, your whole 30-minute run goes down the drain. Anyways, thank you for coming to my TED Talk about armor. Yeah, we kinda gotta continue with the video. Another major mechanic in the game is called implants. No, not those implants, you sick fuck. These implants. These will activate when you perform a specific action like swapping your weapons or using your abilities. These implants can range from being some of the most game-breaking, overpowered bullshit that will single-handedly carry you to the end of the game to an extra dash. Yay! If you've been paying any attention to the screen, you might have noticed me punching these floating orbs in the sky. They're called sea balls. These give you a bit of ammo for your secondary and will activate some of the best implants in the game. You see, these implants have a battery with a varying level, so only specific implants can be paired with specific actions. And sea balls require a level 3 implant, meaning that these are the top of the line, most overpowered implants you can get. The majority of them are dog shit, but the ones that aren't fucking dominate the entire game. This one just straight up doubles your damage, and that was the only reason why I was able to beat the actual game. But these implants are so in-depth that they can completely change the way you play the game. Speaking of things that change up the game, you also have shell upgrades. These are usually more in-depth things that changes your abilities. Like this one, where if I use my grappling hook and then immediately kill someone, the cooldown will reset. Let's test that out. Oh yeah, okay, so that one's broken, and that's a must take. Nice. There are also some people that you can find in between rooms. First, we have Carl. He'll give you a really good buff and a debuff for a certain amount of rooms. And once you've completed that amount of rooms, then your debuff will be taken away and you'll only be left with a positive effect. Next, we have some crack addict I forgot the name of. He's a crack addict, and he lets you gamble. Most of the time you get dog shit. Next up, we got this guy that looks severely homosexual, which I also forgot the name of. He'll let you buy and upgrade implants. The catch is, these are random, and you don't know what they are. Okay, let's go into the story of this game for a bit. I already explained the main premise of it. You know, you're part of like the CIA or something, stopping megacorps from doing their megacorpish things. I didn't mention that there are characters to help push the narrative forward. This one's a bitch. This one's probably gonna be a lot of your guys' favorite because he's the fatherly figure you never had in your life, and this one's severely autistic. This is the only description I will give on any of these characters. Ever. Okay, now let's address the elephant in the room. The art style is fucking amazing. It's got this cool painted look going on that perfectly pairs with the Japanese cyberpunk setting that they're going for. That combined with the amazing music and sound design makes for the coolest experience that you're not really gonna get anywhere else. I mean, just fucking listen to this shit. Now, it's not Doom's soundtrack that's perfectly handcrafted by Mick Gordon himself in the Forges of Hell, but it gets the job done and gets you in the mood to start shooting stuff. And it perfectly pairs with the sound design, which is just immaculate. It's perfect. It's all techy, and it just fits perfectly, like it slots perfectly in with everything else, and I love it, and I cherish it, and this game deserves way more than it gets. Why does it only have 2,800 reviews? It deserves so much more. This game is the perfect FPS roguelike in my opinion. And I hate it that it hasn't gotten too much recognition. It has even gotten a bit of hate. Who knows, maybe with the console release, it'll find some newfound success. I hope so, because this game deserves to be enjoyed by a lot more people. And yeah, that's the end of the video. It took around 3 months to get this one out, mainly because I was on vacation and beating Hollow Knight and doing a bunch of other stuff. The next video, it won't take as long. It's gonna be on RimWorld, and I know how much people love that game, so I'm gonna try making it as good as possible. But for now, yeah, that's it. I'm out.